Water is the most essential substance on Earth. Every living thing depends on it. And every human knows we cannot survive without drinking water for more than a few days. And yet, somehow, something as basic and universal as water has turned into one of the strangest products in the marketplace. Why is bottled water suddenly so expensive? How did a simple necessity become a luxury item with a price tag that sometimes feels absurd? Today, you can walk into a grocery store and find water that costs $0.10, right next to bottles that cost $5, $20, even hundreds of dollars. And then there's this, the bottle of water in my hand costs $200. It looks simple, it tastes like water, but its price belongs in a jewelry store, not on a supermarket shelf. So what exactly is happening here? Why is America paying such high prices for something that literally flows out of our taps almost for free? Is the water inside these bottles truly better, cleaner, safer, or are we paying for something else entirely? Today, we're pulling back the curtain on the bottled water industry to uncover the truth behind why is bottled water 2,000 times more expensive than nearly free tap water? That simple question opens up one of the strangest contradictions in the modern economy. We are surrounded by brands, slogans, beautiful mountain images, and words like pure, smart, glacial, ionized, and artisanal. But when we strip away the marketing, what are we really buying? Is bottled water really cleaner, safer, or healthier than tap water? Or have we been indoctrinated into believing that anything labeled premium is automatically superior? The truth is hard to swallow. More than 60% of bottled water in the US is simply filtered tap water, packaged, shipped, and sold back to us at a staggering markup. Yet millions of people buy it every day without question. So what's actually inside these bottles? Where does the water come from? Is it pristine aquifers, volcanic rock, ancient glaciers, or just a new-look municipal tap water? And what about the corporations behind it? Giant companies like PepsiCo, Coca-Cola, Nestle, and dozens of other luxury brands. Together, these companies make $350 billion a year selling something that, in many places, is essentially free. With that kind of money, can we really trust anything they say? To understand why bottled water became a multi-billion-dollar industry, we have to go back a few decades. In the 1970s through the 1990s, bottled water was not a cultural phenomenon. In fact, it was considered a niche product, something you could find in health food stores or high-end spas. Not in the refrigerator at every gas station. Most Americans drank soda and milk, not water. Drinking water was not a habit. Sugary drinks dominated the diet. But as science progressed, so did public awareness. Health agencies began to warn that regular soda consumption contributed to obesity, diabetes, and a long list of preventable diseases. Gradually, people began to return to water. What should have been a simple change, just drink tap water. But America's relationship with public water has changed. For decades, public water fountains were symbols of progress. They represented the idea that clean, safe water was a right, not a privilege. They were placed in parks, schools, airports, everywhere. They also played a central role in the civil rights movement, marking a dramatic shift toward equal access after the era of segregated drinking fountains. Then came the recession. As public infrastructure budgets were cut, water fountains fell into neglect, rusting, poorly maintained, sometimes removed altogether. They went from symbols of confidence to objects that looked old, dirty, and suspicious. Meanwhile, the media amplified a few highly publicized incidents of contamination, turning isolated problems into national fears. A similar story played out in American homes. Several major tap water scandals, some involving lead, chemicals, or improper treatment, have shaken public confidence. While most communities still have clean, well-regulated water, perceptions have changed faster than reality. People are starting to question their taps, and in that growing void of fear and distrust, bottled water has quietly stepped forward, ready to offer purity, safety, and peace of mind for a price. But when you look past the marketing gimmicks, flashy labels, and emotional promises, water becomes a surprisingly scientific story. And the first fact is this: For most Americans, tap water is incredibly safe. It is constantly monitored, tested multiple times a day in multiple cities, and regulated according to strict federal guidelines. In fact, experts often describe American tap water as one of the most closely monitored products you will consume in your lifetime, which makes our obsession with bottled water all the more interesting, especially when blind taste tests reveal something surprising. Many people, myself included, often choose tap water over premium brands like Fiji or Dasani when we do not know which is which. Our taste buds are not as brand loyal as we think. Now let us take a look at bottled water itself. More than 60% of bottled water in the US is simply tap water that has been filtered, packaged, and sold for, literally, thousands of times its original price. Companies like Pepsi and Coca-Cola use municipal water, treat it with additional filtration, and then sell it as Aquafina or Dasani. There is nothing illegal about this, but it challenges the notion that bottled water is inherently superior. Even water labeled as spring, artesian, or volcanic can have its surprises. Independent testing has found traces of contaminants, including arsenic, in some premium waters. The levels may still be below acceptable limits, but they remind us that nature does not guarantee purity, and a pretty label does not eliminate risk. And what about the health claims that dominate store shelves today? Calcium, magnesium, and other dissolved minerals can actually support bone health, muscle function, and cardiovascular function. Natural mineral water may be beneficial, but many municipal systems already provide mineral-rich tap water. For most people, the difference is negligible. Alkaline ionized water is where marketing often outpaces science. Promises of better hydration, perfect pH balance, or anti-acid benefits have not been supported by strong clinical evidence. According to major health organizations, alkaline water offers no significant health benefits for the average person. As for electrolytes, they are important if you lose large amounts of fluid through heavy sweating, such as marathon runners or professional athletes. However, for people who drink water every day, electrolyte-enhanced water offers no significant benefits over regular water. Ultimately, science has proven a simple fact. Most bottled water is not significantly different, chemically, nutritionally, or functionally, from your tap water. The biggest difference is not the liquid itself, but the story we are told about it. When you compare the cost of bottled water to the cost of tap water, these numbers are almost meaningless. Tap water is incredibly cheap. Once the infrastructure is built, the marginal cost of refilling your cup, kettle, or bottle is almost zero. Bottled water, on the other hand, can cost $2,000 to $2,500 times more for the same liquid. This is one of the biggest price gaps in the modern consumer economy. So why is something so abundant so expensive? The first and simplest answer is convenience. Single-use plastic bottles fit perfectly into modern lifestyles. You can buy one at the airport, throw one in the car, take one to a meeting, and then throw it away when you are done. You do not have to hunt for a tap or trust your local plumbing. You do not even have to remember to bring a reusable bottle. This convenience became a habit, and habit, once normalized, fueled the entire industry. But convenience is only part of the story. Another big driver behind the rise of bottled water was fear. Several high-profile contamination incidents, lead in Flint, chemicals in West Virginia, boil water advisories in parts of Texas, Quebec, and British Columbia, shook public trust. While most tap water in North America is safe, the emotional toll from these incidents lingered for years. People do not remember statistics. They remember headlines. Once trust is broken, it takes decades to rebuild, and bottled water companies profit greatly from that gap. Then there is marketing, perhaps the industry's most powerful weapon. Bottled water does not just sell water, it sells purity, naturalness, status, and identity. Labels promise water filtered through volcanic rock, drawn from ancient glaciers, or sourced from remote, untapped artisanal springs. Phrases like Earth's purest water, smart water, natural spring water, and pH balanced for performance are not just descriptors. They are emotional triggers. They make us feel safer, cleaner, healthier, more sophisticated, even premium. In reality, Much of this is just a myth. More than 60% of bottled water in the US is simply filtered municipal tap water, repackaged under flashy brands. Aquafina, Pepsi, and Dasani Coca-Cola openly use public water. Even some premium waters, like Fiji water, have been mired in controversy, like arsenic detections or misleading country of origin claims. Consumers are increasingly frustrated and skeptical, especially when they discover that they're expensive. Natural water may just be better marketed tap water. Another economic driver is corporate leverage. Large soft drink corporations already have massive industrial systems, factories, bottling lines, distribution networks, shelf space in every supermarket, and contracts with restaurants, airports, and sports venues. As soda consumption declines due to health concerns, these companies do not need to build anything new. They just change the liquid in the bottle. What was once a sugary drink becomes pure water, and profits soar. Behind every bottle of water sold are a host of hidden costs that consumers rarely think about. Water is heavy. Shipping it across cities is expensive. But shipping it across oceans is environmentally absurd. Fiji water has to travel about 8,000 kilometers to reach the US market. Multiply that by millions of bottles, and the carbon footprint becomes enormous. Add to that the cost of producing hundreds of billions of plastic bottles each year, most of which are never recycled, and the ecological damage becomes enormous. Yet these costs are being externalized, meaning the environment and society suffer while corporations keep their profits. Underlying all of this is a deeper social discontent. People feel trapped between unreliable public systems and shady corporate business practices. In the United States and parts of Canada, public water systems suffer from chronic underinvestment, corruption scandals, aging pipes, and occasional falsified water quality reports. People complain that their government spends more time denying problems than fixing them. This creates a vicious cycle: budget cuts, then criticism, then privatization. When public water systems fail, people lose trust. When trust is lost, people stop using them. When usage falls, investment falls further. Eventually, private companies step in to fill the void and sell you what the government once provided for virtually free. At the same time, many consumers feel betrayed by corporations. They resent paying high prices for water that may not be significantly better than their tap water. They dislike the lack of transparency about its source, purity, and contaminants, and they criticize companies for profiting from a resource that should be universal and accessible to all. Yet there is still pride, especially in places where tap water is clean and affordable. Many Europeans, for example, drink directly from public taps. New Yorkers brag that their tap water is better than any bottled brand. People who live in cities with great urban systems feel almost insulted when corporations try to convince them otherwise. What emerges is a strange economic paradox. Bottled water is expensive, not because the water is special, but because the system around it, fear, convenience, distrust, marketing, and poor infrastructure, allows it to be so. It is not the liquid that is expensive, it is the story. And in America, stories are worth billions of dollars. Despite all the controversy surrounding bottled water, there is no denying its practical role in modern life. There are times when having water in a pre-packed, portable bottle is not only convenient, but necessary. When I am going through airports, driving long highways, or exploring areas where tap water may not be reliable, bottled water becomes the simplest and safest option. It is also essential in times of crisis, in natural disasters, when pipes burst, or when a sudden pollution alert appears. Bottled water can be a real lifesaver. Relief agencies rely on bottled water because it is quick to distribute, easy to store, and safe to drink immediately. Large-scale sporting events and environments also rely on bottled water for safety and logistics. Whether it is a marathon, a concert, or a construction site, bottled water ensures that participants stay hydrated without the risk of sharing an unknown water source. In these cases, bottled water fills a gap that infrastructure cannot always fill quickly or efficiently. But outside of these exceptions, the story is different. In everyday urban life, at home, at work, in most restaurants and public spaces, tap water is more than enough. It is safe, regularly tested, and much cheaper than any bottled water. With a simple filter, like an under-sink or countertop water filter, many people can improve the taste and quality of their tap water even further. Combined with a reusable water pitcher, this device covers most daily water needs, while saving money and reducing plastic waste. In other words, bottled water has a clear role to play, but it is not the default solution it once was. For most people, most days, the best water is the water that comes out of the tap. When comparing bottled water to tap water, the differences are not as dramatic as the industry would like you to believe. For example, safety and testing actually favor tap water. Tap water is heavily regulated, tested multiple times a day, and any problems must be publicly reported. Bottled water, on the other hand, is often tested less frequently and has been found to contain microplastics, trace chemicals, and even occasional contaminants that slip through the more lax oversight. In terms of taste, tap water often outperforms in blind tests. The familiar mineral content feels natural and pleasant. Bottled water tastes a little different, largely due to different mineral content, not purity or superior sourcing. Price is a ridiculous differentiator. Tap water is virtually free, while bottled water can cost thousands of times more for the same amount of water. Environmentally, tap water is the clear winner. It uses existing infrastructure and does not create plastic waste. Bottled water, on the other hand, creates massive plastic pollution and high emissions from global transportation. But perhaps the biggest difference is psychological. A few tap water scandals create lasting fear, while glossy labels, slick storytelling, and luxury branding make consumers trust bottled water more than it actually does. In short, bottled water has not been proven to be significantly better than tap water. This large price gap is driven by convenience, fear, and marketing, not pure science. If we take a deeper look at the magic of safe, abundant tap water, we will see a healthy skepticism toward bold health claims on labels. In fact, there are many places, many people who lack clean drinking water, and we should have a sense of responsibility to support communities that still lack clean water. I use tap water as my default, add a filter if I want to be extra safe, and keep bottled water for special occasions, because most bottled water is not magic. It is marketing. Wrapping up the bottled water demystification topic, which everyday product should we demystify next? Soda, milk, or coffee? Let me know in the comments. Why is it so expensive? If you find this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment on what topic you would like me to cover in the next video. See you next time.